Hey guys, today we're going to cover how to correctly set up a travel trailer at your campsite. If you're a beginner, we're going to walk you through the steps in a detailed chronological order. And additionally, we're going to cover some tips to make the process as easy as possible. Sit back, relax, no need to take notes. At the end of the video, I'm going to summarize the entire list and show you where to get a copy of that checklist. Stick around. Now, most of these steps should be done in a specific chronological order, but there are some steps that some could argue could be done in a different order than we're going to cover today. I'm not even going to argue that some of them can be moved around a little bit, but to keep things simple, I'm going to show you guys what we do and what has worked for us over the years. We'll post links to all the equipment that we use in this video down below in the video description. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, and we hope you consider subscribing. Okay, let's get going. You have arrived at your campsite and parked your trailer. Step number one is two parts. First, you're going to check all your connection lengths. That means check the length of your power wire, your sewer hose, your water hose, and anything else that you may need to connect, like your cable TV connection. Sometimes the lengths won't be in question and it will be easy to see that everything is going to reach. But if it is in question, what I do is just lay everything out on the ground, make sure that everything is going to reach before I move forward. The second part of step number one is to check for slide clearance. You want to make sure that when your slides are open that they're not hitting anything like trees, power pedestals, or anything else. So here's a little tip. Most of you guys carry a broom with you, right? Now you'll have to do this before this specific setup when your slides are open. So what you'll do is simply put your broom handle edge against your RV and mark on the broom where your slide ends. If you have multiple slides, you can use multiple colors of tape, or you can mark on the tape which slide that piece of tape corresponds to. Don't forget to look up and down to make sure that your entire slide won't hit anything. That's an easy way to check for slide clearance before you open your slide. So if something doesn't reach or your slides aren't going to open, you're going to need to reposition your trailer at this point. If in the rare case you can't connect everything from your camper in one spot, you'll want to move your trailer so that you can accomplish two things. First, you can't go camping with your slides in, so you're going to need to move the trailer somewhere where the slides will open. And two, things like your sewer hose and your water hose, they can be extended without creating any real issues, but extending your power wire is something that really isn't recommended. As you lengthen electrical circuits, aka your power wire, you increase resistance and reduce current, which creates heat. And this could cause some issues that we're not going to talk about in this video. Just know that the power wire that comes with your camper is manufactured to a specific thickness and length for a reason. And to properly extend your power wire any reasonable distance really means you should be using a thicker power wire altogether. Now, I talk about different connection lengths in our 35 RV Essentials video, but if you haven't seen it, I'll tell you this. 30 feet of sewer hose, 50 feet of water hose, and 30 feet of coax cable. Those are the lengths that I would recommend when purchasing those items, but keep in mind the length of your trailer is also going to be a factor. Okay, so you're parked and you know you're close enough to connect everything you need to connect, and your slides are going to open, but don't connect anything just yet. The next step is to level your trailer sideways. This is done by driving on blocks or ramps, which means you're going to still need to be connected to your truck. Electronic leveling indicators make this process really easy. I'm a little stubborn and still use a standard level. Maybe I'll get around to getting the LevelMate Pro one day, but it's just personal preference. What are you guys using? Let us know in the comments section below. Now, before you move the trailer, there's something that's very important I want to mention. If you have solid frame steps or any type of steps that touch the ground, and someone has gone in the RV, let's say to use the restroom after a long trip, you need to make sure that those steps are up before you start moving your trailer. Never ever move the camper with solid frame steps touching the ground. That means pulling forward or backwards, leveling sideways, leveling front to back, or even stabilizing. Setting up ground mounted steps will be done towards the end of the process, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So here's what I do to level sideways. I'll take my level and put it on the floor in the middle of my RV, and based on that reading from personal experience, I have a good idea of how many blocks I'll need to drive up on. Something to keep in mind depending on how your trailer was built. A level countertop or a level trim piece does not always equal a level floor. I level at the floor because for me, that's what I want to be perfectly level. And a little bit of advice from personal experience: take your time, walk through your trailer as much as you can with the slides in, and make sure it's leveled sideways before you move to the next step. After you have leveled side to side, you can move to the next step, which is chalking your trailer. It's good to use a chalk that has anti-slip properties where it touches the ground. There's a lot of plastic chalks out there that are very inexpensive. They've been known to slide. We use these chalks. They're made out of heavy-duty rubber and they work great. A pair of them is less than 20 bucks. I'll put a link to these down below in the video description. Now, if in the case that you're leveled so high that on the lifted side a chalk won't be effective, there's also leveling blocks that you can get that incorporate a chalk right into the assembly. And another option, which I think is the most popular option, is X-Chalks. They do two things. First, they virtually eliminate all forward and backward motion in the tires when your trailer is parked, and they help chalk your trailer. Now, Bow Manufacturing Group, the company who makes these, recommends to never use X-Chalks alone to chalk your trailer. You should still be using the standard chalks that we just talked about. They also say to install these after leveling front to back, which is obviously not a step that we have gotten to yet. At this point, we do not put our X-Chalks on. We will wait until we level front to back, just in case that movement may cause issues in your axles. I think what's important to take away from this section of the video is to know that you can successfully unhook a trailer on unlevel ground using just standard chalks and not using X-Chalks. Just make sure that your standard chalks are installed correctly in the center of the tire and that they don't move when you unhook the trailer from your truck. If you're still watching at this point, thank you. We hope you are enjoying the video, and if so, click that like button, and we hope you consider subscribing so that YouTube puts our videos in your feed when they are released. Moving forward, your trailer is chalked. The next step is to plug in your power cable. You should be using some type of surge protection on your RV. If you use a portable surge protector, this is the process that I follow. First, turn off all the breakers at the pedestal. With your power cord disconnected from your surge protector, plug only your surge protector into the pedestal. Flip your breakers on and check the lights on your surge protector to make sure that your connection is good. At this point in time, go ahead and connect your power cord to the RV and then plug it into the surge protector. If you have access to the thermostat or the fridge with the slides in, now is a good time to turn on your air conditioning or your heat and power up your fridge now that you're connected to power. If you do this, don't forget to close your solid frame steps on the way out. Next, we can start unhooking the trailer from the truck. Just a reminder, make sure that you clear any debris on the ground where you're putting your blocks so that they sit flat on the ground. I try to use as many blocks as possible to keep the tongue jack post as short as possible. It's simple physics, right? The shorter the tongue jack post is, the less sway that you're going to have because the blocks aren't going to move. Make sure that your tongue is high enough that you can safely pull your truck away and then go ahead and move your truck. And a quick public service announcement, make sure you pull your truck far enough away so that you can safely walk between your tongue and your hitch. Your shins will thank you later. Now you can level your trailer front to back, and I'll do just as I did when I leveled sideways, except I'll put the level long ways inside the trailer and make adjustments until my trailer is fully level. Again, electronic leveling indicators like the LevelMate Pro will speed up this process, but it's okay if you're old school and still use a level 2. Now your camper is level. Let's go ahead and install those X-Chalks. They're not difficult to install, but it is worth mentioning that all 4 pads need to be touching the tires equally as you start to expand them. It's a little up and down dance you have to do. I'm sure all of you who use them understand what I'm talking about. Tighten them to the point where you can't pull them out with your hand. It's a happy medium that you'll find after you do it a couple times. Until then, let me show you what it looks and sounds like. I'll stack some blocks underneath my stabilizer jacks so that they don't open more than about 50% of the way. Remember, stabilizer jacks will be more stable if they have a wider stance. Stabilizer jacks are not meant to jack up the trailer, but you do need to put some pressure between the ground and the RV. Let me show you how much pressure we're talking about here. Now we're pretty low, so I won't need to put any blocks underneath. But as I mentioned, lower them down to the ground. As soon as you hit the ground, immediately stop. Then I'll use my ratchet tool and just crank it a little bit until you start to see the trailer lift. As soon as you see the trailer lift, stop. You are done. I'll do the rear stabilizers first, and then I'll move to the front. Now that your camper is level, you can go ahead and open the slides. I'm sure your family has been patiently waiting to get inside the camper. I have the More Ride Step Above steps, and with any solid frame steps, they need to be in a very specific spot so that the door will still close. Since the trailer moves during leveling, this is why I do my steps last. They should be adjusted so they fit over the doorway threshold, nice and flat, but the majority of the weight of these steps should be resting against the ground, not the threshold of the doorway. Now we're at the point where you could start setting up your water hose, your sewer hose, your cable TV connection, your ground mat, your gravity chairs, your grill. The order of those things doesn't matter. We're almost done. Once the tires have cooled down and you set everything up inside, go back outside and check all your stabilizers one more time to make sure that they're still snug. You might find with all the movement going on in the camper at this point, you may need to adjust your stabilizers just a little bit more. But don't click off yet, because I want to give you guys 3 more tips about setting up. First, take your time, there's no rush. I can tell you from personal experience, if you don't do it right the first time, it's a pain in the butt to do it later. Second, if you use a ground mat, don't pack that under 23 different things that you have to move to get out. Pack your ground mat so it's first out and last in. Really nice to be able to pull your ground mat out, lay it down, and then start setting up your gravity chairs and your grill and your table and everything like that right on top of your ground mat. If you empty your water heater after each trip to save weight, or just like to put fresh water in for every camping trip, make sure you check your water level in your water heater before you turn on your electric water heater. Running the electric water heater without water in it will destroy your heating element in a matter of minutes. All you have to do is simply burp your water heater's pressure valve, make sure there's water coming out of there. If there isn't, fill it up, and don't turn your electric on until there's water inside your water heater. There is an abbreviated list of all the steps that we covered here today down in the video description if you want to copy and paste it to your records. I've been doing this for 5 years. I have my setup checklist memorized, but I still use it every single time just for peace of mind. If you found this video helpful, please click that like button, and we hope that you consider subscribing. It helps the channel grow so that we can continue making RV content for you guys. That is all for this episode. Drive safely, and until next time, happy camping, everyone. What I do next is take my things. First, they virtually eliminate all motion. Hi guys.